Joining me now is New Hampshire Democratic Senator Jeanne Shaheen, a member of the Foreign Relations Committee, who recently traveled to Ukraine and met with President Zelensky. Senator, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We really appreciate it. Let me just start with this breaking news, your reaction to the administration's announcement that they will be moving in more troops. What is your reaction to the announcement and the timing of it?
Well, I think it's a response not just to Russian aggression in Ukraine, but to what we're hearing from our allies in Eastern Europe and the Baltic nations, in Poland, in Romania, about their concerns about Russia and NATO's concerns about Russia. And ironically, what Putin is doing now is he claims that he wants to reduce tensions along his western border, the eastern border of Ukraine. But in fact, what he's doing is escalating those tensions in a way that's getting a response from NATO and uniting NATO in ways that are totally antithetical to what he had been hoping to accomplish.
You heard Richard Engel make the point that President Zelensky says, OK, good start, but these troops do not go far enough. We need more sanctions. I know that that's something that is being debated right now on Capitol Hill. Would you support imposing sanctions in an effort to deter Putin? In other words, before he moves into Ukraine?
Well, the bill that's currently being worked on in the Foreign Relations Committee by the chair and ranking member would have some preemptive sanctions that would go into effect now based on the aggressive actions that Russia has already taken. But if we do all the sanctions now, then we take that off the table as a deterrent for Vladimir Putin. I think what we need to do is make it very clear what the consequences will be of his actions. That's what the administration has been doing through their diplomatic efforts. That's why it's so important for us to work with our allies so that we present a united front on behalf of both NATO and the transatlantic alliance to what Putin is doing. Because as someone pointed out in your earlier segment, what we're seeing is a replay of what Vladimir Putin did in Georgia in 2008. It's a replay of what he did in Crimea, and seizing Crimea and going into the Donbass in 2014. And it's the same playbook. So we know what's coming, and we need to work together to deter and let him know that he's going to be held accountable.
On this issue of making him feel pain now, though, is he feeling enough pain from the U.S., from the United States, NATO allies at this moment? Are the troop movements enough?
Well, we don't know that yet. Obviously, what Russia and Putin decides to do is totally in the hands of Vladimir Putin. He's been given an off-ramp to go a diplomatic route, to avoid bloodshed, to avoid sending Russian troops home in body bags. And the question is, will he take it? And does he listen to anyone, or is he sitting in Sochi, totally isolated, just doing what he thinks he wants to do and not paying any attention to what the impact would be on the Russian people?
And in terms of the timeline, I know we cannot know, again, as we have all stressed, what is inside President Putin's head. But there is a theory that he may wait until after the Olympics because he has this meeting with President Xi. Do you think that that is something that is a possibility? What's your take on that theory?
You know, I can't get into Vladimir Putin's head, but what I think we've got to continue to do is to work on pointing out what the deterrents are to his taking action. That's why bipartisan legislation in Congress is going to be very important in showing him that there is bipartisan support for Ukraine and opposition to what he's talking about doing. It's why continued diplomatic efforts are so important, why the actions of NATO and the work with our allies is so important. And we've got to keep doing that in hopes that at some point he may get the message that what he's planning to do is not only not in the interest of Ukraine and Europe, but it's not in his self-interest or the interests of Russia.
Very quickly, because I want to ask you about Afghanistan, but how quickly can we expect, I know you talked about the bipartisan effort to potentially get that sanctions package through. How quickly do you think you can move on that?
Well, what we've heard from the chair and ranking member is that they're on the 1 yard line in terms of an agreement. Hopefully that will happen in the next day or so. And I think as soon as that package is done, there will be an effort to move it in the Senate, and then hopefully the House will take it up.
All right, I do want to ask you about Afghanistan. National Security Council this morning responding to an Axios report on leaked documents that talk about discussions inside the Situation Room and what they call a lack of preparation over the withdrawal from Afghanistan, telling our NBC's Carol Lee, quote, that leaked internal documents and cherry-picked notes do not reflect the months of work that went into the withdrawal. What is your reaction to this latest reporting? And are you satisfied with what we have seen in the wake of the withdrawal? Has there been enough attention on women and children?
Well, I think no. I think we need to do more to think about how we can support women and girls in Afghanistan. And it's no secret that I was not supportive of the president's decision to withdraw and was uncomfortable with the way that was carried out. But at this point, what we need to do is find out what went wrong and what was done right about that evacuation. What are the lessons that we can carry forward? That's why a commission that has been sponsored by Senator Duckworth and a number of other folks, myself included, is important to see if we can make sure that we don't make the same mistakes in the future.
And just to put a fine point on it, do the leaked documents that we've now all seen underscore your concerns about how the withdrawal was carried out?
They do.
Okay. Senator Jean Shaheen, thank you so much for your insights. We really appreciate it on a very busy news day.